Did you know that The Outer Limits was so terrifying that ABC received thousands of complaints from traumatized children? Well, we all know The Outer Limits pushed television boundaries with its monsters and twist endings. But what you probably don't know is that the real horror happened behind the camera.
Television series 30 years old that I don't remember. That's scary.
From actors hospitalized by dangerous stunts, to episodes banned for decades, to a lawsuit that destroyed the creator's career, this 1963 series has more dark secrets than monsters. Created to compete with the Twilight Zone. Leslie Stevens created The Outer Limits specifically to compete with CBS's hit series, The Twilight Zone. A BC needed a science fiction anthology to match their rival network's success. Stevens pitched a darker, more visceral approach, focusing on creatures and body horror rather than ironic twist endings. ABC greenlit the series immediately in early 1963. The network positioned it in direct competition, airing Monday nights against lighter programming. Stevens wanted The Outer Limits to be the Twilight Zone on steroids, emphasizing visual horror over cerebral puzzles. The strategy worked initially. The Outer Limits attracted younger viewers who found Twilight Zone too tame. However, the intensity that made it successful also created problems. Parents complained the show gave children nightmares. ABC faced pressure to tone down content throughout the series run. The famous "Please Stand By" control voice. Opening Vic Perrin recorded the iconic "There is nothing wrong with your television set" opening in one take.
There is nothing wrong with your television set.
The control voice narration became The Outer Limits' most recognizable element, more famous than any individual episode. Leslie Stevens wrote the opening to deliberately unsettle viewers, making them question whether something was actually wrong with their television. In 1963, audiences weren't sophisticated about metafictional techniques. Many viewers genuinely believed their television was malfunctioning when the opening played. ABC received hundreds of calls during early episodes from confused viewers adjusting their sets. Some people switched channels immediately, assuming technical difficulties. Stevens loved this confusion, believing it enhanced the show's unsettling atmosphere. The control voice opening became so iconic that parodies appeared within months.
We will control the horizontal.
Perrin received no residuals despite the opening airing 49 times. Actors were hospitalized from dangerous monster suits. The Outer Limits' monster costumes created genuinely hazardous working conditions. The suits weighed between 40 and 60 pounds with minimal ventilation. Actors regularly collapsed from heat exhaustion during filming. Janos Prohaska, who performed inside multiple creature suits, was hospitalized twice during the first season for dehydration and heat stroke. The Zanti Misfits episode required performers inside ant costumes to work under hot studio lights for 12-hour days. 3 actors required medical attention during that production alone. The Thetan creature suit from The Architects of Fear was so heavy and restrictive that Robert Culp, not the stunt performer, insisted on wearing it for certain scenes. Culp suffered severe back pain for weeks afterward. ABC's insurance company threatened to refuse coverage unless safety protocols improved. Leslie Stevens reluctantly agreed to shorter shooting days and mandatory cooling breaks for creature performers. The Sixth Finger predicted human evolution accurately. The episode The Sixth Finger aired November 1963, showing accelerated human evolution. The makeup effects depicted an enlarged cranium, reduced facial features, and an additional finger. Scientists watching the episode were stunned by its accuracy. The episode's evolutionary predictions matched contemporary anthropological theories about human development. Paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould later cited The Sixth Finger as remarkably prescient science fiction. The episode suggested future humans would have larger brains, weaker bodies, and enhanced mental abilities. This aligned with evolutionary biology theories gaining acceptance in the 1960s. David McCallum's performance as the evolving Gwylm required 7 hours of makeup application for the final evolutionary stage. The prosthetics were so elaborate that McCallum couldn't eat or drink while wearing them. He lost 8 pounds during the episode's 5-day shooting schedule. ABC banned multiple episodes from syndication for decades. ABC refused to allow several episodes into syndication packages because they were too disturbing for children. The Bolero Shield remained banned until the 1980s because it showed a woman murdering an alien creature in graphic detail. The Forms of Things Unknown never aired in syndication because ABC considered it incomprehensible and nightmarish. The episode, Z's, pulled after entomologists complained it would terrify children about insects. Most controversially, Demon with a Glass Hand was restricted because of its dystopian themes and violence. Harlan Ellison, who wrote that episode, publicly criticized ABC for censoring his work. The banned episodes became legendary among fans who'd heard about them but never seen them. Bootleg copies circulated at science fiction conventions throughout the 1970s. Some episodes remained difficult to find until DVD releases in the 2000s. The show's cancellation had nothing to do with ratings. The Outer Limits maintained strong ratings throughout both seasons, regularly placing in the top 30 programs. ABC canceled it anyway in January 1965. The reason? Sponsor conflicts. The show's dark content made advertisers nervous about association with disturbing imagery. Multiple sponsors withdrew during the second season after viewer complaints. Procter & Gamble, the show's primary sponsor, demanded lighter content with fewer monsters and less violence. Leslie Stevens refused to compromise his vision. Without major sponsors, ABC couldn't justify the show's high production costs. Each episode cost approximately $140,000, expensive for mid-60s television. ABC offered to continue if Stevens accepted a reduced budget of $90,000 per episode. Stevens believed he couldn't maintain quality at that price. The cancellation shocked cast and crew who expected renewal based on audience numbers. Harlan Ellison won Writers Guild Award, then got sued. Harlan Ellison wrote 2 legendary Outer Limits episodes, Soldier and Demon with a Glass Hand. Both won critical acclaim and awards. Demon with a Glass Hand earned Ellison a Writers Guild Award for Best Teleplay in 1965. 20 years later, these same episodes caused a massive legal controversy. Ellison sued James Cameron, claiming the Terminator plagiarized his Outer Limits scripts. Soldier featured a warrior sent back in time from a future war. Demon with a Glass Hand showed a man with partial amnesia discovering he's from the future with humanity's fate encoded in his hand. The similarities to the Terminator were undeniable. Cameron's production company settled out of court rather than face trial. The settlement required all future Terminator releases credit Ellison's Outer Limits episodes. The lawsuit earned Ellison between $65,000 and $400,000 depending on sources. Cameron later called Ellison a parasite. The series accidentally created television's first cyberpunk story. Demon with a Glass Hand aired October 1964, depicting themes that wouldn't be called cyberpunk for another 20 years. The episode featured artificial intelligence, digital consciousness transfer, and humans merging with technology. Science fiction scholars later recognized it as television's first cyberpunk narrative, predating William Gibson's Neuromancer by 2 decades. Harlan Ellison created concepts that became cyberpunk staples: the fusion of human consciousness with machines, dystopian futures controlled by technology, and individuals carrying humanity's collective knowledge in digital form. Ellison had never heard the term cyberpunk when he wrote the episode. He was simply exploring ideas about consciousness and technology that fascinated him. The episode's influence on later science fiction cannot be overstated. Cyberpunk authors, including Bruce Sterling, cited Demons with a Glass Hand as inspirational. Ellison accidentally invented a subgenre. The Architects of Fear inspired Watchmen's villain. Plot: the November 1963 episode. The Architects of Fear featured scientists faking an alien invasion to unite humanity against a common enemy. They surgically transform one of their own into a horrific alien creature to terrify the world into peace. The plan fails tragically when the fake alien is killed. 23 years later, Alan Moore used this exact plot in Watchmen for Ozymandias' scheme. Moore acknowledged the Outer Limits episode as direct inspiration. The episode explored whether noble ends justify horrific means, a theme central to Watchmen. Robert Culp's performance as the scientist transformed into a monster remained disturbing decades later. The Thetan creature design influenced alien designs in multiple later productions. The Architects of Fear asked whether humanity needed external threats to overcome internal conflicts. The answer the episode provided was pessimistic and haunting. Network censors forced major changes to I, Robot episode. The December 1963 adaptation of I, Robot faced severe censorship from ABC's Standards and Practices Department. The original script depicted a romantic relationship between a human woman and a robot. Network censors deemed this inappropriate and disturbing for 1960 three audiences. They demanded the romantic elements be removed entirely. Writer Robert C. Dennis fought the changes, arguing the human-robot relationship was essential to the story's themes. ABC refused to budge. The broadcasted version reduced the relationship to platonic companionship. Dennis was so angry he demanded his name be removed from the credits. The censored version eliminated the story's emotional core, leaving a hollow legal drama about robot rights. Leonard Nimoy, who played the robot, later said the censored episode missed the entire point. The original script wasn't produced as written until a 1990s radio drama adaptation. The entire second season was filmed with different producers. Leslie Stevens and Joseph Stefano, the series creators, both departed after the first season ended in May 1964. ABC had demanded lighter content with fewer monsters and reduced budgets. Stevens and Stefano refused and quit simultaneously. ABC hired Ben Brady as the new producer for season 2. Brady had never worked in science fiction and didn't understand the show's appeal. He eliminated the atmospheric cinematography that defined the first season. Monster episodes became rare. The second season focused on cerebral science fiction without visual horror. Longtime fans noticed the dramatic quality decline immediately. The second season episodes felt like rejected Twilight Zone scripts, rather than genuine Outer Limits stories. When the show was canceled after season 2, many blamed Brady's creative changes for destroying what made the series special. The Zonti Misfits caused nationwide ant phobia reports. The December 1963 episode, The Zonti Misfits, featured grotesque ant creatures with human faces. The episode traumatized an entire generation of children. Psychologists reported increased cases of ant phobias in children following the broadcast. The Zanti creatures combined insect bodies with distorted human features, creating deeply unsettling imagery. Parents complained to ABC that their children refused to go outside after seeing the episode. Some kids developed genuine entomophobia, requiring therapy. The creature design was intentionally disturbing, created by makeup artist John Chambers, who later worked on Planet of the Apes. ABC received over 2,000 complaint letters after the episode aired. Cinematographer Conrad Hall revolutionized television lighting. Conrad Hall served as cinematographer for multiple first-season episodes, bringing film noir techniques to television science fiction. Hall used dramatic shadows, extreme close-ups, and unconventional camera angles that were revolutionary for early 60s television. Most television shows of that era used flat, even lighting to ensure clarity on small screens. Hall deliberately created darkness and shadow, trusting viewers would accept reduced visibility for enhanced mood. ABC executives initially objected, believing audiences would think something was wrong with the broadcast. Leslie Stevens defended Hall's approach, arguing the atmospheric lighting was essential to the show's identity. Hall's work on The Outer Limits influenced television cinematography for decades. Robert Culp appeared in more episodes than any other actor. Robert Culp starred in 3 different Outer Limits episodes playing completely different characters: The Architects of Fear, Demon with a Glass Hand, and Cold Hand's Warm Heart. No other actor appeared in more than 2 episodes. Culp became associated with the series despite each role being unrelated. His performance in The Architects of Fear, as the scientist transformed into an alien, required extensive prosthetic makeup. Culp spent hours in the makeup chair and performed inside the restrictive creature suit, despite having no stunt training. His commitment impressed Leslie Stevens so much that he specifically wrote Demon with a Glass Hand for Culp months later. That episode became the series' most acclaimed installment. Culp considered his Outer Limits work among his best performances. He later said the series let him explore darker, more complex characters than typical television roles allowed. Alternate ending. The series finale, The Probe, aired January 16, 1965, with an ambiguous ending showing survivors trapped inside an alien probe. Leslie Stevens had written a completely different final episode titled The Unknown that would have provided closure to the entire series. This unproduced finale featured the control voice revealed as an actual character observing humanity from another dimension. The script showed various characters from previous episodes connected by the control voice's experiments. Stevens intended The Unknown to reframe the entire series as one being's study of human nature under stress. ABC rejected the script as too expensive and too weird even for The Outer Limits. They substituted The Probe instead, which was already completed. Stevens' original finale script survived in his personal papers. It has never been produced in any format despite fan demand for decades. The Outer Limits could have been a safe science fiction anthology with happy endings and friendly aliens. Instead, it traumatized children, hospitalized actors, and sparked lawsuits that lasted decades. The real finale never aired. The banned episodes stayed hidden for years, and a generation learned that sometimes there really is something wrong with your television set.